Mozart's fourth string quartet in C minor. I mean, C major. Oh, and we will, do you have a score?
Yeah.
Okay. We will be playing the letter C.
Nice job. Excellent. So, this is great music. I enjoy so much, like, all the parts of pieces like this. It's like you're looking at a glass of water, like crystal clear water. You can see even specks. If it's dirty, or I'm not saying it's your case, but it's so clear. Part of the things when I mentioned clear, is you kind of need to look at this music exactly like that, just like a glass of water. So all the things need to be there, and they're there. You're doing a great job, but I think you need to kind of make it even more apparent to the listener. What are we hearing? Melodic or accompaniment? And the part of accompaniment is really rhythmical, the stuff that is really fun. So I take a little example. So every time that you have, for instance, like syncopations, I know it's in the case of the third violin or the viola, the things that you're doing exactly what you should do with the syncopation, they sound exactly right, ba, 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 ba. but it doesn't pop. So what I was talking about, this glass of water that's clean, one thing to make it pop more is since you're playing this with the cello plays on the beats, you play on the offbeat. To make it even clearer, if you, instead of making the syncopations too long, if you make them slightly shorter, there is a compulsive rhythm between two of you. It'll pop more. You see what I'm saying? So that's an example. So every time you're doing great with the cello eighth notes, any opportunity to just kind of just give a little bit more ring on your instrument. Boom, 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 boom. They give a little more. So what the goal is to let everything come out. It's like you're putting all these little things and then you're throwing that out to the listener. So one of those things where the sort of the rhythmical stuff. I'll put another example. So this tends to be a kind of a problem when you have grace notes. And where do you play the grace notes? When you have something like da 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 da. So it's a little bit difficult for the listener to know where the beats are because things are not precisely around there. So if we were to look again at a nice clean glass, where's that one? The one that is
Letter A.
Yeah, letter A, exactly. So letter A, I would ask you what letter A is just the first line, right? Try this. This will be really interesting. Think of the grace note instead of coming from before the beat. Da 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 da. Think of them being on the beat. Something that in Italian musicians are used to all these Italian terms. It's called imbattere. It's like on the beat. So think of them. That's everywhere in Mozart's music. You see that a lot. So could we do that section letter A? Well, actually, let's go from the beginning because I think we can start kind of getting those little bubbly things in rhythmical elements to pop more. So try those syncopation a little shorter. Bum, 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 bum. Let's try that. So from the beginning. Okay, very good with the rhythmical thing. Even though your G is like unimportant, I want to hear it. If you need to change your bow, da 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 da, go for it. But if I want to be able to hear it, because you're sort of a cello in a different way that she's being a cello. Like now you're really supporting role. So try changing your bow and then stop the bow. Ya da da dee, ya dum dum dee da dee da dum da dee da da, something like that. I just want to hear it. You know, it's part of that clean glass that I want to hear. Okay, one more time. Trying that. That's really great. It's great. Did you notice something different when you play it like that? What? What did you notice?
More snappy.
Yeah.
Less muddy, more clear.
It also lines up with the cello. Yeah, it's a lot better linearly, like vertical lines. If you were to think of vertical lines, it's a little more in sync with what's happening. Anyway, you guys.
We'll just fix a note real quick. Measure 6, second violin's F natural, not F sharp. Yeah, you're playing F sharp right now. Yeah.
So just to hop in for a second, I think the big things that Luis was talking about are cleanliness, and it seemed like trying to sort of differentiate the functions of what you are playing at any given moment. So in the beginning, you have that long note, and y'all are doing like melodic stuff, and you're doing the eighth notes, right? Each of those different bits of musical material have a different function, right? So you've got the melody, which like quite singing, and then you've got this G, which is just like, you know, you're sort of like underpinning all of it, and then you've got the eighth notes, you're actually giving rhythm. So, you know, each of those should be understood by us as a different part of the musical texture, right? And so that also takes us back to the point of cleanliness. And one of the things that we were talking about with the previous group was the idea of decay in the sound, and the idea of what I call bell tones. You know, it's not necessarily the natural way that we think of playing our instruments, right? When you draw the bow, it's kind of like a wah, sort of like, you know, a nice, like, there's like a growth to the sound, right? But in a chamber music setting, it's actually incredibly helpful if you are able to play with that sort of attack at the beginning of the note and then a decay. And it makes it sound like a bell, it gives rhythm, but then it gets out of the way for the other material. So each of those eighth notes in the beginning, pum, 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 a little bit of that attack and decay, and pretty much all of the material, in the syncopations that you were playing later, much better this time. Think even more in that direction of pop, 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 giving rhythm, but not too much sustain, if that makes sense. I think that sort of approach to sound making will get the cleanliness that Luis is after.
I'll happily chime in here. Do you want to try anything or no? Oh, okay. So yeah, if we, I don't have these same letters, but I'm guessing it's A. The bum, 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 that's A. Okay, great. So if we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures after that. Texturally, we have something quite different from anything that we've had before. So what Justin was kind of outlining was these different layers. We have primarily melodic stuff in the violin parts, actually, and then we have a lot of transferring of either bass sound or rhythmic drive between the viola or violin 3 and the cello. But now, what happens? How would you describe what's happening in that fifth measure after A? Texturally, what is happening?
Waves.
Waves. Okay. Tell me more, or someone else add to that. Are you playing the same thing, different things, same thing, different times, completely different things?
It's well, we're all kind of in the same, I would say, like motion, same musical thing, but we're playing it at different times. It's mostly us three going like boom, 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 or I don't particularly know the order.
Great. Yeah, that's a really important thing to understand, that at this moment, there's some passing of the same melodic content or same motivic material. And what I'm not sure is, with the exception of the cello, who is providing our bass, but between the rest of the three and the violins, you actually need to probably do a little bit better of a job at being aware of who you are succeeding and who you're about to pass off this material to, so that it can match, and that us, the listener, can actually have this sense of seamlessness. There are actually two different ideas going on. Da 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 dum and da 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 dum. Right? So you've got the 16th notes, and then you've got that dotted figure with the trills. So what I'd like to do is, if you can start from that fifth measure after A, and can you only play when you have da 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 dum, just that, and then keep the time going. So if our cellist can actually just play with us, that would be great. But don't play any other things that you have at that moment. Okay, well that was great, but that was only two out the first violin goes da 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 da, right? So that's a really important little dialogue. So let's make it a dialogue between three. Let's try the same thing. Okay, what I applaud you for is that you are in fact matching each other very well. However, the rhythm is not quite accurate. So I should really be hearing a dotted rhythm rather than two equal eighth notes. Da 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 da, not da 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 da, right? You hear the difference? Da 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 da. So can we try that one last time, and let's really make sure that that's a pretty snappy rhythm across all three of you. You guys can practice this on your own, but yeah, now the first violin is playing the rhythm correctly, but you guys are still playing it like eighth notes. So just make sure that you're really accurate about so that actually feels like a dotted rhythm rather than something that's so even. Let's do the other motive that's going on. So now can you only play if you have the da 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 and then drop out for other material. Again, keep track of time. So the first person who has that, sorry, let me just be a little bit clearer. So you could either have da 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 or da 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 da. So that half note plus 16th note combination. I'd like to hear just that. So basically, play whatever you have that isn't the thing that we were just playing.
Louder.
1, 2, ready, play! 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. You hopped on for the very last one. Can you do that one more time and then the second bar, and you know where we are? Okay, so this is still the 5th bar of A, but you just won't play until the 2nd bar of A. Okay, awesome. 1, 2, ready, play! 1, 2, 3, 4. Violin 2 part because you have to really quickly come off of the tie in a really accurate way. Da, ba, da, 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 right? So sometimes you're coming off a little bit early. So just make sure that you're aware that you have a slightly different function. Okay, so now that you know that these two things are being passed around, let's put this all together, but really be aware. You should be wearing 1,000 different hats and ears at this point because you need to be matching the previous person's da 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 da, and you also need to be listening out for the 16th note plus the half note passage. There's a lot of matching that's going on. So let's try this spot, put everything together. I'll count you guys off. 1, 2, ready, play. One more time, just make sure you check that rhythm. Da 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 da. Just make sure that's a snappy 16th note, not two equal eighths.
This is actually also an ideal spot to be thinking about the idea of a sort of bell tone, because I think that sometimes what is happening is you are sustaining your sound so much that it's hard to hear the 16th notes that come before you. Does that make sense? So, for example, in the second violin, when you play that low G, hit the low G and then decay your sounds so that you can actually hear his 16th notes before, because you have to hear all of them before you start your 16th notes. Does that make sense? So this, in all of your parts, actually, this is a part where you can tum, ta-ta, ta-ta-tum, you know, ta, that sort of decay in all of these figures. And that will actually help to sort of thin the texture so that you can hear what's going on better. So can you try this spot again and try to have that idea in mind, to sort of attack and release? I guess
Great job, guys.